Heavenly Father, we pause at this time to thank you for this day in our lives and the opportunity to serve the citizens of this area and serve on the water board. And we're thankful, Father, for all our employees and staff that make things work out. And Father, we know these are trying times, but we trust you and we lean on you, and we know that we will overcome. We just ask for your guidance and forgiveness and all these things. Across the name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you.
We'll go into the engineer's update. To do that, we're going to call in. We've got the phone connected to the speaker, so hopefully everyone can.
Is it going to be Chris?
Both sets.
Welcome to Open Voice Audio Services. Please enter your conference room number followed by the pound or hash button. Conference room number accepted. If you are the organizer, press the star key now. Otherwise, please hold.
What time do you show? I told him we'd be on at 6:05. 6:04 on the phone.
For a menu of available commands, press star 1. There are 3 participants in the conference.
Suets. And, yeah. Steve, is that you?
Yes, it is. How are you guys?
Hey, good, Steve. Good evening, sir.
Who's all on the call?
Just Josh and I right now. I haven't heard Chris yet.
All right. Well, we're ready if you'd like to go ahead.
Okay. Did you guys get the emailed copy of the status report?
Yes.
Okay. Josh, you want to cover I and K real quick?
Sure. So contract I, again, this is Josh. Contract I is for the disinfection system improvements package. That is to install or put in the new chlorine dioxide system at the water plant, put in new bulk tanks for LAS and hypochlorite. That allows, and feed systems with that. That allows us to then take the old chlorine and LAS systems offline. The new chloramine boosting system for that with the LAS and hypochlorite will have an automated feed system on that. So that will have an automatic feedback loop that goes back to the control system that allows us to ensure that the operators can establish a set point for a target residual, and then the system will ensure that it's meeting that residual. So whether the plant's running or it's not running, it will ensure that any drop of water that gets pushed out from the clear well system now is meeting at that target. So the idea is instead of, it's not that we're trying to do something that takes away tasks from the operators. It instead it automates certain tasks to free up more time for the operators to do performance evaluation, make sure the chlorine is at the right concentration, that's accounted for properly, and then stay on top of preventative maintenance of the plant. One thing we always see is frequently when we're looking at daily operational data in the plant, many times first thing in the morning, the plant's not running. It doesn't need to. The tanks are full, the off-site tanks are full, and because it's just sitting there, you can start to you can lose some residual, or you can even increase some residual if you get even water loss. Usually, we see in the summertime, as the water temperature goes up in the tanks, we'll see a little bit of a loss residual. And so when the plant goes from, say, offline and say first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock to noon, usually everybody starts pulling on water as everybody's getting up, getting ready for work and school. And usually anyway, now it's just everybody's getting up and getting ready and taking a shower, and maybe not washing their hair and putting on a cap. But at this point, what we normally would see is from that transition point from 8 a.m. to 12 or 12 to 4, we start seeing the demands go up, and so the operators are then chasing that residual until they get it to restabilize once the plant's moving water through it and everything else. With this automation system, it ensures that we're not overshooting residual, so we're not adding more chemicals than we need to, which means we're being very efficient there. And it allows us to collect that data on a very routine basis. So not just our normal mandated required check-in periods every 4 hours per TCEQ, but this will be tied into SCADA. So at any given time, if a wholesale customer asks about residual, like, well, I think the chlorine's too low, or I think it's too high, not only can we go back to our normal 4-hour mandated sample points for TCEQ, we can go back to SCADA and show a trend of, no, actually, here's where the residual's been. And we can see, do we need to bring it up, or do we need to bring it down? And it's going to basically, what I envision is based on the chemical use. I think the improved efficiency in chemical use will ultimately make that system pay for itself in savings, probably within the first year, maybe 2 years, but I'll say conservatively 2 years. But and it's something we're seeing that's getting implemented more and more throughout the state. So this isn't some new doohickey for the system. This is just taking the increased automation a step further and using automation beneficially where appropriate, and not just throwing it out there just because, oh, it's cool to automate stuff. No, we're doing it for this specific reason. We're also going to add in a new caustic feed system for it that's also going to have the same automation as what we're looking at for the hypochlorite and ammonia too. Contract I has been submitted to TCEQ. It was submitted the last week of April. Based on where we're at with that, my guess is it's going to be somewhere in the range of 60 days or less. A lot of people at TCEQ have already started transitioning back to their offices in Austin. And frankly, the ones that have now finally gotten the hang of working remotely, reviewing things remotely. So we've noted in the project update in our timeline that we're envisioning TCEQ approval probably somewhere in June. With Water Development Board, once we have the TCEQ approval, we'll send that in to Water Development Board. That will be a quick review process, because at that point, with the TCEQ approval in hand, Water Development Board is just looking at programmatic requirements. So American Iron and Steel is not applicable based on of when this project was originally funded, but things like DBEs, disadvantaged business enterprises, all of that is required. So they'll look to make sure that has all the proper documentation, which is not a problem. This will be one after many of these other packages. Contract K, that one, we're still working on the updated layouts for the operations and admin building space concepts. Once we've got those updated, we'll provide those back to Steve and to the operators for review and comment. And then that doesn't require any TCEQ review because we're not doing any process work there. So the only thing we'll have to do will then be to provide that to Water Development Board. So one of the things I'm kind of hoping is that with the timing, where we'll be at with Contract K, and then the fact that we're already in the queue with TCEQ for review of Contract I, is that I'm kind of hoping by the time we're ready to send Contract K to Water Development Board, will be about the same time we'll be sending Contract I to Water Development Board, so that once we're ready to put those out on the street, I think we still keep them as separate packages, but I think by having both of those out on the street about the same time, I think that'll bring in some more interest. It won't make a project that's too big for some contractors because they can still bid on one or the other, but it may bring in other contractors that maybe want to go after both of them. So it might help with some competition. That's all I have on my end right now for contract I or K. Any questions on either of those packages?
Josh, this is Steve. You helped develop that caustic feed system for this new, this contract I, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. That's pretty dynamic. Huh? And, it'll be good. Does anyone else
There's
have?
companies that are out there that are doing it with the disinfection, but Josh kind of encouraged them to start thinking about using it for caustic as well, but nobody took the bait and ran with that. So Josh is designing that portion of it on his own.
Yep. That's great. Does anyone else have questions or comments? I was going to touch on a few items that Scott and Josh are aware of that happened in the last week or two. First off, we got our new pump and motor for Eastland pump number 3, or the motor and switchgear, I should say, for Eastland number 3 installed, and it's operational and working very well. We also had the switchgear, new switchgear put on in the system for Eastland pump number 1. Randy put phase monitors, adjustable phase monitors in both sets of the switchgear to where hopefully we don't have a power surge that gets another motor or whatever. Also, last Sunday, both the air conditioner compressors and the electrical control room in the new plant both failed that morning or during Saturday night sometime. I called James with J&J Air Conditioning, that's who installed those. He got both compressors warrantied, and I believe the fan motors were fried also for each of them. And I think we're getting still getting dirty power into the water treatment plant because there's 2 5-ton units in there, and it's just a redundant system. So one's running, one's not, but it managed to get both of them. So, and they're supposed to be also they put phase monitors in those 2 units also. I asked James to do that. That way, because the breaker was tripped, but it had already done its damage. They got that going this afternoon late, just before Franz come up here with the stuff. They got those installed and back working. Also, some of you may know about the sump pump in the new plant failing a week and a half ago or roughly. And Suez has stepped up and is going to replace that sump pump for us. Purcell, I'm sorry, yeah, Purcell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, the heater for the CIP tank. CIP means clean in place. It's back in the west side of the building. It's that skid came already assembled. It unloaded off the truck. Purcell set it in the plant and connected electrical to it and also plumbing to it. But in the control panel for that, there was evidently a loose wire on the terminal block where those wires go in and come out of. I had Randy Koger go out and verify this, but he said one of the lugs was loose and it fried the electrical wire and also the heater on that CIP tank. That CIP tank or heater keeps that water at 100 degrees for the different cleaning arrangements that are set up into those new membranes. And right now, the water is 71 or 2 degrees coming out of the lake, so it's not warm enough. It's still washing, but it's not the optimum level yet. Suez has been notified about this when it happened, and they're supposedly going to hopefully repair this for us. And that's all I've got really for the portion of this. Do you know, Scott, if Chris has gotten on or not?
I believe he has. Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm on, guys.
Okay, great. Okay. Can you guys, Scott and Josh, can you stay on while Chris is doing his update?
Yes, we will.
Okay, great. Oh, do you have anyone have any questions for Scott and Josh before we go into HDR's update? If not, go ahead, Chris. Are you there? Hello, Chris.
I heard another beep there. I think they may have dropped off.
Okay.
Let me try to call him real quick on my cell, Steve, and see.
All right.
That's you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on.
Good deal. Well, Steve's ready for your update if you're ready. So.
Yeah, I'm ready. Sure. So really only one big update. Everybody's mostly aware. We had our bid opening for the spillway and dam and basement improvements project, and last Thursday we had 7 responsive bidders. We had a low bid of $2,137,283. That was about $370,000 less than our engineer's estimate, which was at $2.5 million. So the low bidder was Dorado. The second highest bidder was only about $23,000 higher, that was J Mills, $2.16 million. And the high bid was $3.8 million. Had a pretty good range. But had a good low bid. We've done some background check on them, and they have done some similar earthwork projects. They were the only contractor that sent out a team of people to come out before the bid and do site reconnaissance. They actually did a test pit in the spillway. So they really did their due diligence. So hopefully they got their bid, even though it was pretty low. I feel like they did their due diligence. We did do a Dun & Bradstreet background check. Didn't find any financial risks. So we are recommending to award Dorado, and we're recommending to alternate bid for moving the on-site spoils to tow berm. That was $9,216. So we recommend awarding their total bid, base bid plus that alternate for the $2.146499 million. Steve, I think that's all I've got.
Yes. Can you explain to the board on the add alternate bid where that spoils are actually going to go, Chris?
Sure. We have what we call a tow berm designed in the plans to put that material. It's basically at the bottom of the new dam embankment. And that's pretty common to put less suitable material there if there's spoils. And that it's just a good place to waste unsuitable material, and you get a little extra benefit, a little extra dam stability by putting that weight down at the toe. So that's where it's going to go.
Okay. Now, Chris, that road that's currently behind the dam that winds around behind it, will it stay pretty much in place, or will that be
Yes.
on top of that berm possibly?
No, we'll design the berm to stay out of that road, keep that road where it is.
Okay. All right. All right.
Why weren't these spoils figured into the original contract? The placement of the spoils.
What was that again?
Why weren't the spoils figured into the original contract?
He asked why were the spoils not figured into the original contract? Oh, can you hear
Why
me?
was he not? Why was what? Yeah, just can you repeat that one more time, Steve?
Bob wanted to know why the spoils were not put in the original contract, not it being an ad alternate bid.
Well, it wasn't, it's not required for the design of the slope. So the slope is stable without it. So this is really just a, making use of the existing spoil that's out there, putting it in a place that'll get it out of the way and do some good. And so, if they came in real high, we maybe would have not done that, but they gave us a pretty little bit on that. So.
Chris, aren't some of these spoils a result of work that was done after the design? I mean, aren't some of them from when we made the decision to take 1.5 feet off the top of the road, and then also from some of the work on the front face repairs?
That's correct. Yeah, all the material is from those two sources. So. Yeah,
It wasn't part of the original project there, Bob. It's just that we're trying to do the best we can to get that out of the district's hair, because all of that stuff's piled around in a number of places, just kind of in the way. And this was a good place when we had earth moving contractor on site and an active contract to get a good, reasonable bid on putting it all in a place where it would be out of the way and provide some benefit.
Okay, Scott. It has a smell of change. Right?
Well, that's why it was an ad alternate.
Yeah.
Chris, I've got a question. This would be, I'd asked you this a couple weeks ago about the millings that J Mills is going to collect off of that 2461 Farm Road. And they suggested that we possibly allow them to put those millings on the slopes of the Saddle Dam. And you said that you was going to get with Raleigh and try to make a decision, and I was wondering if you had done that or not.
We talked about it. I don't have a decision yet, Steve. It's not the most suitable material to put on those slopes.
Say again, please.
It's not the most suitable material to put on those slopes.
Okay.
Given the granular nature of it, likely not a lot of organics in there to support vegetation, and you have to bench it in to do it right, to get it compacted. So there'd be some excavation ahead of the placing that, just to get the benches in there. So we'll evaluate it and get a final answer on that, our final recommendation.
All right. do you know if in TxDOT's contract with J Mills, by chance, would you know if they were required to remove those millings from the site, or are they just going to be stockpiled out there? Because they're talking 10 to 15,000 cubic yards of those millings. That's going to be quite a pile.
County might take them.
I've talked to the county about it, and they don't.
Yeah, typically, they would have to take it, the contractor, once they excavate it, they own it, and they gotta figure out where to put it, unless there's a designated area to put it.
Okay.
And, TxDOT hasn't talked to you guys about putting it on district property, then I'm sure it's not gonna go there unless the contractor arranges a deal with you, so. They're gonna have to haul it off, I suspect, and that's probably why they're looking for a cheaper place to put it,
Of course.
closer to the site, so, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want the district having that piled up in the emergency spillway somewhere. We've got enough
Yeah,
piles
no,
now.
definitely not. They'd have to get your permission to do that, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have questions for Chris or Scott?
Any idea on start dates, or when we'll see things?
Okay, yeah, would you give us a rundown on the progression from here forward on the start date for the project? I know that
Sure.
Laredo wanted to mobilize starting Memorial Day Monday. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, yeah, if y'all decide to vote to award their bid tonight, we'll have a notice of award letter tomorrow to them. And then that gives them 7 days to get the agreement signed off on, get their insurance and their bond in place. And that typically takes about a week. And maybe a few days. I know they're pretty anxious to come, but we're envisioning a pre-con probably the following week, week after next, possibly June, Monday, is that June 1st?
Okay, June 1st, Monday, okay.
That's what we're envisioning. We need to confirm that with the contractor that he'll be ready. But I think that's doable.
Okay, would that be a target date, June 1 for the pre-construction conference?
Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
And then we'll issue a notice to proceed at that pre-construction meeting, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And then there's 180 days for substantial completion, weather permitting from that day forward then, correct?
That's correct.
That answers.
That'll put it about the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Ken, do you have any questions? Ken?
He's not asleep, but he's acting like.
Yes.
Do you have anything for Chris?
I think everything's moving along, break deal. I figure it's gonna be a comment. You have any more information on that? Break has
Later session.
okay, that's what I figured.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think that's all we have here on this end. Chris? Scott?
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
You bet. Y'all take care.
Yep.
Steve,
I already cut him off. Well, you guys have the handout from HDR in your packets. Bid numbers and also the bid tabulations are on the sheets to the back side of the bid tab.
Do we have to formally accept that?
The engineers up today.
No, the bid.
We will here in, in item number 3. There are no city representatives here today, so we'll go to the next item, update or comments from board members. First off, those that I haven't introduced him to, this is Chuck Troutman. We've hired him to replace Alan as lake keeper. He starts on May 26th. He's going to spend a few days with Alan, learning what all's supposed to go on out there, and get started. Yeah.
Well, he's gonna have to be there 24/7 to know what all's going on out there.
Don't pick up any of his bad habits.
But I wanted, and Bob asked if we could have him come, and that's a real good idea, where everybody gets to meet you and put a name with a face.
Nice to meet everybody.
But you're welcome to stay or go, whatever.
Hey, if you don't mind, I'll sneak in, because I got my wife and grandkids out at the lake, so
Yeah.
I don't blame.
enjoy the weekend. So it was nice to meet everybody, and I was supposed to be at the game at 7 o'clock Tuesday morning, is that
Yeah.
right? All right. Hope y'all get to talk to y'all next week sometime.
That'll work.
All right.
And Kerry will be in the office sooner or later to get
Okay.
your paperwork
I
done.
may run out there tomorrow and get an application.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, have a good night. Thank you.
you. Let's see. The other day, Monday, we put a scoring committee together for our new project that we're applying for that CDBG 2015-16 grant that we talked about a couple months ago. And this committee was Don, Charles Calvert, and myself. There were 2 respondents for the engineering services. HDR was one, and Doucette, I think is how you pronounce it, the other company, out of Austin. We scored them and sent our recommendation to the county, because they'll be the ones that officially award the services, and we recommended HDR. We knew, first off, other than what was in the packet, nothing about the other company. I know that HDR has a lot of dam diagrams, the drawings they've done, and work they have done so far on these other projects, on this other project, and some of that will come into play on this second project. And there's no sense doing that work twice. And but that's who we're recommending, and they will co-operate the plan with EHT like we currently are. I'm back on the subject I brought up last meeting, and break of the ground on the land application. Someone else, I don't remember right now, I think Dawn, about hiring somebody to do that, to operate the motor grader that has rippers on the back of it. The City of Rangers told me that they will allow us to use it, and all we do is buy the fuel. And I've been found one guy that I'd called about first, and he was wanting $30 an hour, and that's Randy Bledsoe is his name, from Carbon. He's a very good operator, but that's kind of up there on price. I think that I talked to one guy yesterday that has had experience running a motor grader. He basically told me whatever I think is fair, he would entertain doing it. Sylvester Lopez from Ranger College.
I know Sylvester.
Huh?
I know Sylvester.
And That's just one, but I'm saying 15, 17 an hour, we'll hire somebody like him. Because that's basically what he told me. But I think we need to do that. We've dried that land out to where it'd be an optimum time to do it. Because it's as hard as the top of this table. And that water just runs off of it when we turn the sprinklers on. And this will allow it to, and it needs some leveling, because when we pump that sludge out from the lagoon ponds to the land application site, they have to put small dams up or squared up areas to keep it from all just running right back down the hill. And when it finally dries out enough for them to dismantle those little levees, they don't ever get them flat. And we could be ripping and leveling at the same time with that motor grader. I'd say it'd take a week or 10 days, weather permitting, to do it really good. So
Is this going to be an ongoing thing?
well, it'll have to be done from time to time.
Because we've got a good tractor, we put a blade on it later on. Like, for them to go out there and try to level out those little dams, that's too much. We need a piece of equipment to do that with. If they're going to go out there and try to level out those dams, a tractor with a blade would do that.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm not talking about right now, you say that when they pump the lagoon, they go out there and build dams, and then they have to go out and try to tear them down. And I can't figure out how to plug that next to the backhoe in, so.
Yeah,
Well, I wouldn't want to be out there in this kind of weather trying to use a shovel to level something
no,
out.
because that whole side of that hill gets checkerboarded with those.
Yeah. Well, if we had a blade for our tractor, because it's got a 3-point hook up on it. Or we could rent something from Ken Chapman, he's got something out there to level it
It's
out.
possible,
So it doesn't get so bad.
yeah. And also, if we do this, I'd like to come in by looking of this with a rock picker. We can rent one from Ken's, and a bobcat skid steer some type to put on it, because we got all year to get that place ready for sprigging next year. And when you rip it, it's going to pull rocks up other than what's already on the surface. Okay, let's see. We'll go over this in the accounts payable, but I would like to ask permission to pay Precision Pump. They're the pump company that sold us our new motor for this Eastland number 3, and also K&K Electric for their work on that, because they got this done last week. And if we have to wait another billing cycle, we've already filled out an outlay to the Water Development Board to get reimbursed for this or get the monies for this. And I would like to go ahead and pay those this time as an add-on possibly to the accounts payable, to where they've got that Precision Pump is, I think, a very good potential bidder. I know he bid, it was $7,000 or $8,000 less than it cost us. $27,430. That was installed, new clutch, everything. And that's a brand new General Electric. It's fully enclosed, and it will move to the pump canisters on the next project. And the operators say it's a lot quieter operating motor. I think they did a real good job. We've got it. John from Track Control walked Randy Coger through the process of connecting it to the SCADA. other motor also. And I know Randy Koger, he bought the 2 switchgear panels and a bunch of wire, and different things. His amount of his bill is $23,390. But that's for the 2 switchgear panels.
We're not gonna be able to switch it, use those,
No. Not for the pump canisters. What we're going to do is eventually we'll put where those switchgear panels are on that west wall in the pump gallery. That's where the VFDs will go. We'll pull those out and put VFDs in there for the new pump canisters. They'll be totally enclosed in there. But anyway, that's all I've got for comments from board members. Go to agenda item number 1, action necessary from the engineer's update. I don't see anything actionable that they talked about, so do I have a motion to table agenda item number 1? Motion. Bobby? Bobby made a motion to table. Do I have a second? David? I'll second. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay. It's unanimous. Action necessary from comments from board members. What do you think on this breaking of the ground and also on the paying premium Precision Pump and K&K Electric along with the other accounts payables tonight? What's your thoughts on that? Because we will be reimbursed from the Water Development Board for this. Because I know that Precision Pump is a new company. Colin Brown is the one we dealt with before, I believe. And he's a good man, but I know, especially on a new company, how cash flows can be.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Are these pumps comparable to the ones that Smith Pump was rebuilding for us?
Smith Pump, what?
They rebuilt 3 motors for us a couple of years ago.
Smith or Weiss? Well,
No, it was Smith, I'm pretty sure. It was a Fort Worth.
they rebuilt some in the Eastland ground storage over there when,
I was thinking that might be down to the Null Water Station. But we had some rebuilt, and I was thinking Smith Pump, we were paying $35,000. This would be our pumps rebuilt.
I think that was down to raw water pump
Yeah.
station.
I think it was.
yeah.
But it was costing us, are these comparable to those? I'm just comparing prices.
Well, this is the motor.
Okay.
This is the motor only.
Went back on the same pump that we rebuilt a while back.
Yeah.
Okay. It just sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yes, I know that Weisinger was at 34,000 something on their bid.
It sounded good to me. I'll make a motion to pay the bill to the animals.
With these as add-ons. Do I have a second? Unanimous? Thank you, Bob. It'll help these guys.
Yeah.
We'll go to agenda item number 3, discuss and approve awarding the Eastland County Water Supply District Lake Leon Dam Embankment and Spillway Capacity Improvements Project to the low bidder, Dorado Construction Group, for their base bid of $2,137,283.57, plus their add alternate bid of $9,216 even, for a total of $2,146,499.57. Along with the add alternate. Mark seconded. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay. Let's see, number 4 and number 5 carry said we need to table till next meeting because she needs to be here to do those two items. I need a motion to table agenda item number 4 and number 5 both.
Motion to table 4 and 5.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Okay, review the monthly financial reports for February, March, and April. They were sent to us digitally this morning. I only printed off the April, simply because Susanna in the back here made the adjusting entries from the audit, from Snow Garrett and Williams' recommendations for the adjusting entries. And this is basically reflective. All of them are in the April. They were entered to where it was effective January 1 of this year. But the January, March, February, March were just basically compiled into this April financial report. I looked it over this morning and I called Susanna or Savannah? I'm sorry?
Suzanne, like those Suzanne.
Okay, I'm sorry. And the only thing I could really see, and it's not her fault or Kate's, it's where we have the budgeted portion of the financial report, to where when we do our budget next time, we need to break the utilities out one by one instead of compiling them into one. Because it shows erroneous figures, you know, for percentage of budget. And that's because we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8 different line items for utilities. That they all show the same amount of budget for each one of them, which is not so. That's from telephone to electric to whatever.
I also offered to Steve to prepare a kind of statements of activity budget for the budget committee to review whenever they sit.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
I wanted to let the budget committee know that I offered to produce a statement that y'all can use for your budget, because,
yeah.
you know, you use a lot more for the utilities electric TXU versus utilities electric Comanche, and you'll see the big difference and be able to apply that.
It'd make it a lot easier for doing
Yeah.
the budget, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And after the audit last month,
Yes, Carrie and I teamed up and we diligently reviewed a lot of the transactions that happened in January, February, March, and April. We took the lead from your auditors and moved some expenses back into infrastructure. We saw a lot of those items coming from like Binmark, Supply, J&W Services, Ingram Concrete, HDR Engineering. You guys did some regular plant updating with your piping. You also did new concrete for the clarifier, and those were expensed items originally, so we moved those into infrastructure because it's increasing the longevity of the structure. So that's why we went ahead and moved those, and that way your auditors won't have to do adjusting entries for those.
yes. Yeah, that'll,
In total, it came out to just under $100,000 for categorizing.
Yeah.
So that was moved from our P&L statement into our balance sheet, so our bottom line looks a lot better on our P&L.
well, that plus it's, instead of expensing those items out directly,
Yeah.
they need to be depreciated.
Yes, and we're capitalizing, exactly. Putting it toward that.
Yep.
Does anyone have any questions?
questions, I'd like a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
I'll make it.
Motion been made. Do we have a second? Ken? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 7, approve minutes of the April 16 and May 7 meetings.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay. It's Ken and Bob.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't at either one of those meetings.
Okay. Go to the accounts payable. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We already do number 8.
No, we're getting ready to. Approve accounts payable. I don't think there's any add-ons other than those two I mentioned.
Eastland office supply for $336.62. Pretty big one.
I think that's for some cartridges, printers, toners.
And Denmark, $11,318.88. That's the new pipe.
Yes, that's for new pipe for, bunch of stuff for that big vent pipe that's in the, new plant. They put a cap on it, also a air relief valve on top of it. Also, there's a saddle tap, 24-inch, I think it is, saddle tap is inclusive in it. The new 3-inch plumbing in the trench that's gonna hook to the sump pump, plus a new check valve that will be in that plumbing coming out of the check valve. Glue, cement, and some more of the 3-inch Schedule 80 PVC that is in that trench connecting to the sump pump. What else? There was some other parts that went in the outside plumbing that went around that last clarifier we rehabbed that didn't make it in the previous billing cycle that made it to this billing cycle. But that is for all new stuff, to answer your question.
What do we have to do in the Lower Colorado River?
It's a report we have to send and dues we have to pay, and I don't understand that.
Because we're in a completely different basin.
Yeah, we're in the Brazos River.
Basin than the Colorado Basin. That's one reason we don't need to get anybody out of Boston.
I agree. I agree.
Well, they both terminated the same place, don't they?
Pardon?
They both terminated the same place.
Well, that's true too, the Gulf of Mexico, so. That's probably how they think too.
Yeah. Is there any other questions on the payables? If not, need a motion to pay the bills.
Motion we pay the bills with the 2 add-ons that we discussed earlier.
Okay. Have a second, Bobby. All in favor?
I'd like to abstain from grandpa's school ship rental, please.
Okay. Okay, next item is approve secretary's reimbursement of monthly expenses.
We have
a handout.
Handout?
Yeah.
I didn't get a handout.
You didn't get it?
I don't need it. I don't need it.
Would you like to see it, Bob?
You can have mine. Oh, you got it. Anybody else need one? They're up here. Mark, David? Any questions? If not, need a motion to reimburse.
Make a motion to reimburse the secretary's monthly expenses. Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, number 10, executive session in accordance with government code. One item for personnel matters, and the other one is consult with our attorney. Do I have a motion? And I would like to ask Julie and Bronze to go ahead and excuse yourselves from this. Thank you, Julie, for coming out here.
Will there be anything after this, and we just finish this out here, or
I beg your pardon?
should I come back and have this kicked back up after the executive session, or is this pretty much all of it?
This is pretty much it.
We will come back in and then we will